The Tar Heels are making an adjustment to their typical preseason schedule. No more live action, but it's for the best.
You are Locked On Tar Heels, your daily podcast on the UNC Tar Heels. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, what's up? It's Monday, September 16th, 2024. Welcome into the Locked On Tar Heels podcast, the only daily North Carolina show out there. I'm your host, Isaac Shade, and you're joining me at the place to get your Carolina content every single day. It's all part of the Locked On Podcast Network. I want to thank you so much for making us your first listen or first watch of the day. And a special shout out goes to all the everydayers joining us, all the members of the Locked On Tar Heels Discord, and the members of the brand new Locked On Tar Heels Insider Program. Welcome in, everyone. Glad you're here. Today's episode is brought to you by 5-Hour Energy. Go to 5hourenergy.com and use promo code LOCKEDONCFB to receive 20% off your order. Coming up on the show today, welcome into a brand new week. More basketball preseason scheduling news, more opportunities to see the Tar Heels in action, and that, in my opinion, is a win. A prize 2025 basketball recruit has cut down his list, and we dealt with the football game live on our postcast and more in depth there. We'll hit on it more in the third segment today, so make sure to check out that postcast. But we got to talk about the issues at quarterback for Carolina, although I'm going to suggest that there actually isn't one. All right, so here we go. Let's dive into basketball. Carolina has had a very similar preseason for ages now. They've had a preseason exhibition against a non-Division I opponent. They've had a secret scrimmage at some point against a Division I opponent. And for the longest time of the Roy Williams era, we had late night with Roy. And then the first 3 years of the Hubert Davis era, we've had what has come to become known as live action, coming off of that phrase he kept using in that first season as Carolina kept winning. Well, the Tar Heels are making an adjustment. No more live action. Many have been asking, when is it going to be reported? When are we going to get the date? And I've just said, hang on. There's a rumor that it's not going to happen. And now it's public. There will be no live action. Coach Williams had utilized Late Night with Roy really as more of an entertainment experience with a little bit of basketball on the back end. It was more about just the engagement of it than the basketball side of things. And the rumors that had been going around suggested, and then Inside Carolina reported this over the weekend, that the current staff was kind of growing weary of that. And I get it, understandably so. And it seems like interest had waned in terms of people showing up for the actual event. And I like to always say that people vote with their feet, right? Like if they're not coming and they're not showing up, then it might be time to make a change. So in the Hubert Davis era, truthfully, it had already become less about the entertainment and more about the basketball. And look, I'm all for entertainment and a good time, but I'm more all about give me more basketball. But now, in what is year 4 of the Hubert Davis era, it is done, kaput, it is no more. It's weird to start wrapping our heads around no more Friday night thing, right? We've had this Friday night experience for so long now. For a lot of people around the country, we had different versions of Midnight Madness. That's no longer a thing because the way the practice schedule works, it just isn't needed or necessary anymore. And so the thing is, it was time for something more modern and more in line with what's happening in the current college athletics landscape. Oddly enough, while it was time for something more modern, in the same breath, it also provided an opportunity to a return to something previous that is a part of the Carolina experience. So in place of Late Night with Roy and more recently live action, we now get the blue-white game. This used to happen previously like a Saturday home football game, and then would be the blue-white game just right after that. That was the experience. And if memory serves, I think Coach Williams might have done that like his first year in the 03-04 season. It went away for a long time, and then Late Night with Roy. But now the blue-white game is back with some tweaks. Let me explain. The details of it is going to be Sunday, October 13th. So, just a couple of weeks away from right now. That is 2 days before that charity exhibition at Memphis in FedEx Forum on Tuesday, October 15th. This event will not take place. Hear me say this loud and clear. Not in the Smith Center. It's going to be in Cherokee, North Carolina, at the Harrah's Cherokee Resort Event Center. That's not the same place in Asheville, like where the Maui Invitational was in 2020 when Carolina was down there. Not the same place. This is further away from that. It looks like, because you can't buy tickets yet as of today, but the event is publicized on the Harrah's page as 1 Eastern tip. Now, there's no details that we have yet. It's not been officially announced on the UNC site, but sources have confirmed this to Inside Carolina in an article written by Adam Smith that obviously lots of people have picked up on. But got to think that we're going to get more details maybe today, Monday, or maybe tomorrow, Tuesday, because there is a pre-sale that starts for tickets on Wednesday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern, and then general public this Friday at also 10 a.m. Eastern. So we need details to find out about that before these tickets go on sale midweek. So I'm guessing that that's when that's all going to come out. But as for now, we know that it is Sunday, October 13th, and it seems like from what's on the website that would be at 1 p.m. Eastern. But again, we should find out today or tomorrow, straight from the horse's mouth from UNC. Now, why do this? Why make this change? I've got several reasons I want to walk through here. Number one, the history of this thing. Again, this was an event for so long, part of the Carolina basketball preseason experience that ended in the blue-white scrimmage format during the Roy Williams era. And because of Coach Hubert Davis's love and desire of history and tradition, and I think what I appreciate about Coach Davis is he takes that and wants to contemporize it, do things that make sense, that have been part of Carolina history, but in a today sort of way. And so I love that about this experience. Remember also, as part of that history, Carolina has worked to have a blue-white scrimmage each of the past 2 seasons. 2 years ago, on August 27th of 2022, kind of the NIL infancy, there was an NIL scrimmage between the Carolina guys. I think RJ and Caleb were on separate teams. RJ Davis, Caleb Love, both went off, and I believe RJ's team won. There was supposed to be one last year on September 9th, but the NCAA forced that to be canceled. So we get it again, this blue-white scrimmage, but several things about it are different. So why do it? It's part of Carolina history. Number two, this one, we don't have specific details on, but I'm wondering if this factors in is the travel to Memphis. Now, I would expect if it was just going to play Memphis, you just fly to Memphis from RDU, right? You just make that trip. However, as you look at the map from Chapel Hill to where Harrah's is in Cherokee, North Carolina to Memphis, it's a nice little, not quite halfway, but it's like 4 hours, 15 minutes to Harrah's, and then another 7:20 from Harrah's to FedEx Forum. Keep in mind, this is going to be a Sunday afternoon, and then Carolina turns around and plays at Memphis on Tuesday night. Now, again, I don't think they're going to drive and do that whole thing, but if you're going to drive over 4 hours to Harrah's and back on Sunday night, only to turn around probably Monday night or Tuesday morning and fly to Memphis, that's just a lot of travel. So I'm curious to see how that goes. Maybe, I don't know, but there could be that travel factor in it. The other 3 things, and I think these, in addition to the history, are the most important reasons for doing this. Number 1, the NIL of it all. By taking this off campus, Carolina can make this an NIL opportunity under the current guidelines. And so I expect that when we get the official announcement, we will hear more about how it's going to play into that and be an NIL opportunity. But man, that is, in this day and age, again, that's why I'm saying you take a historical thing and you contemporize it. It's very Carolina, but in a 2024 way. Number 2, recruiting. Recruits, they want to know how, if I come play for you, how are you as a university going to take care of me as a player? Not only just like my well-being, but also to help me out in the NIL era, right? And I think it's the responsibility of schools to help figure out how to do that. If athletes can now get paid, if student athletes can now get paid, then let's find multiple outlets for that. And I love that one like this could and can be for the entire team, not just like, oh, RJ Davis, you're the star. Let's get you this opportunity, right? And so, if I'm a recruit, I look at this and I say, oh, this program is doing things to benefit their players. I like that. I really like that. And then thirdly, of these reasons why do this is it's more legitimate basketball. We, this preseason, are going to get 3 legitimate public data points on the Tar Heels, right? Usually, if there's just live action, the secret scrimmage, and the exhibition against a non-Division I opponent, you get a little bit of sort of basketball in late night, but it's not very long. And again, we don't know the details of what this blue-white exhibition is going to be, but I think it's going to be, I expect it to be more basketball than what we typically got at late night or live action. And then 2, because of the charity exhibition, that's a whole game's worth more than you get in a secret scrimmage, because we're literally not allowed to be told about that through any public channels or through legitimate public channels. And then obviously the standard exhibition game, we get that. But now these are 3 legitimate public data points to feed into our frenzy of wanting to see the Tar Heels and learn about them, but also allowing everyone to get their eyeballs on them. And so for me, that is a massive win. So Sunday, October 13th, blue-white scrimmage. Tuesday, October 15th, charity exhibition at Memphis in the FedEx Forum. And then Sunday, October 27th, hosting Johnson C. Smith. And then as a reminder, regular season tips off Monday, November 4th, as the Tar Heels host Elon. So I love this. I love Carolina trying it. Like that's what you got to do in this era is like, all right, let's figure out what makes sense for today and now and here. Might we change it next year if this doesn't go well? Sure. What if it goes well but just needs some tweaks? Then we do it again, but we tweak it. That's what you got to do. That's how you are creative and you stay ahead of the curve and alongside other top programs in the country. Well done to Hubert Davis and the staff, not just coaches, but everyone as part of the Carolina basketball operation for seizing an opportunity like this. One player who might be part of one of those future blue-white events is Acaden Lewis, who ascended like crazy up recruiting ranks this summer. Carolina offered him early in that, and he has now cut his list to 4. Are the Tar Heels in that? If so, what are their chances? We'll talk about that in just a second. Right after I tell you about 5-Hour Energy, grab a 5-Hour Energy shot to help you stay alert to watch all your favorite games. Man, it helps you through that third quarter lull on Sunday afternoon after church as you settle in to watch the NFL. Or tonight for me, my Falcons are playing Monday Night Football. I don't know if I can stay up, but man, getting a 5-Hour Energy today can really help me do that. Or if it's too late, maybe I get one Tuesday morning to help me make it through Tuesday. 5-Hour Energy is the brand that hardworking people really have trusted for over 20 years to give them the alert, energized feel they need to get through a hectic day. You always know where to find 5-Hour Energy, right up there at the cash register at nearly every convenience, drug, and grocery store nationwide. And stock up on money-saving multi-packs to make sure that you never run out of delicious, energizing 5-Hour Energy shots. If you want to do that, go on to 5hourenergy.com. That's the number 5 and get some 5-Hour Energy product today. You can use my promo code LOCKEDONCFB to receive 20% off your order. That offer is only valid until September 30th on one order and cannot be used with other promotions, and the code doesn't work with subscription orders. So go to 5hourenergy.com today. Acaden Lewis, a guard in the class of 2025, has shot up the recruiting rankings this summer. Carolina got in on that while he was making waves on the AAU circuit this summer and really got in on that. Acaden Lewis is very impressive to me. Every time I've watched tape or a live game of him playing, I love how he commands the ball. I love how he runs a team. I love the attention that he demands and has a multitude of skill sets. He's somebody that right now is in the 30s-ish range, probably consensus, but I think is better than that, is going to continue to rise in this class of 2025. Now, he over the weekend cut down and announced his Final Four. And I got to tell you, it is a very blue bloody Final Four, and which is kind of wild because when Carolina got in on him this summer, it was not that level of offers. And then all of a sudden, everybody and their brother that is the elite of the elite in college basketball got in on Acaden Lewis. And now he's got a Final Four of Duke, Kentucky, UConn, and of course, now the Tar Heels. Great news on that front. Is he going to come to Carolina? I don't know. It's a little bit too early in that to tell. He's just coming off of this visit to Kentucky, and we're still waiting. In a couple weeks, he is coming to Carolina for his official visit. He's been unofficially already this summer. So it's going to be an opportunity to try and do that work to land him and solidify Acaden Lewis. Now, what's interesting to me is hear this tweet. This is what he told on 3. Quote, Coach Hubert Davis and Jeff Lebo and the rest of the staff have also done a really good job of recruiting me, also in reference to other schools. They've been really active planning out the home visit, and now I have my official visit that I've put out for October 4th, so I'm ready to get up there. I've been up there on an unofficial already, and they showed me a good time. I went to practice and everything. It's a guard school. They play really fast, and they let their guards make decisions. And here's the key line for me. This is why I wanted to read this. With Armando Bacot not being there now, I'm interested to see how that changes up their dynamics. They let their guards rock out, and I could see myself playing in their system. And this is a critical point that Acaden Lewis makes here. What exactly will the Tar Heels look like this upcoming season? This is like, I feel like the thing that we've been speculating on all summer long. You and I, Coach Davis, not Coach Davis, I haven't talked to him about it. Coach Rob, Coach Pat Kilby, we've all talked about this. We think the Tar Heels are going to play more up-tempo, maybe more back to a Roy Williams era pace, but we also think that they're going to play more small ball, more 4 around 1, even differently than they did in the Armando Bacot years, the past 3 years, specifically under Coach Davis, where it's been primarily Bacot as the big and everyone else around him. It's going to be even different look this year. And so we think we know what it's going to be, but until we truly see that in action, it's honestly hard to say. But importantly, and to Acaden Lewis's point, it's not just about fans wanting to know how the Tar Heels are going to play. It's not just about other schools wanting to know how the Tar Heels are going to play so they know how to defend them, which we will find out in about a month from now. It's also recruits who are very curious to see, if I went to a new look Carolina, how would I fit in with what Hubert Davis is trying to do? And I got to tell you, based on what I think this is going to be, if I was a guard, as Acaden Lewis said, I would love to come play for not only this Tar Heels team, but for one of the best three-point shooters in the history of the NBA, right? Like, there are massive opportunities to grow your game and to be featured and focused on this team. So if the Tar Heels want to matter in this era, they cannot screw up this year. They've got to figure out how they're going to play, and they got to really lean into it and put on tape for Acaden Lewis and a whole host and trove of players coming after him to show, oh, I'm a 4 that can stretch. Cool. Chapel Hill, North Carolina is the place for me. Oh, I'm a guard that can get up and down and score like mad crazy. I want to go to Chapel Hill. All right. Like, all of these are things. So Carolina really, really needs to make this happen. Now, here's a weird wrinkle that kind of happened this weekend in Acaden Lewis's and Caleb Wilson's recruiting. Caleb Wilson, who is top 4, top 5 in the class of 25, depending on what recruiting service you looked at, was on his official Kentucky visit this past weekend. When Acaden Lewis tweeted out this list of his Final Four schools, and he just said Quattro, that's all the tweet said, Caleb Wilson replied to it with these 4 words, quote, "Come on over, bro," end quote. That was it, those 4. Now, again, Caleb Wilson in Lexington on his official Kentucky visit, while he's there, tweets that to Acaden Lewis. That honestly doesn't give me a ton of hope, specifically for Caleb Wilson, but then also Acaden Lewis, if that's going to happen. So I would not be, I don't know, maybe Caleb Wilson did a silent commitment this weekend to Kentucky, but that's weird, man. Unless, like, I fully expect now this dude's going to Kentucky. Acaden Lewis, we don't know. But with Caleb Wilson doing that, why? I mean, why else would you be saying that while you're on that official visit in Lexington? So we'll watch and see. But that, as of now, I think Caleb Wilson's a Kentucky Wildcat. Well, with that downer, let's turn to the football field where Carolina is 3-0. But also, speaking of threes, I think it's time for a third different starting quarterback in this young season. We'll talk about that in just a second. Right after I tell you about FanDuel, you've heard me talk so much about FanDuel this summer, America's #1 sportsbook. And I've been sharing with you how FanDuel gives you a boost or a bonus every day as a FanDuel customer. Well, now I got something a little bit different for you. Because right now through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. And then with the YouTube TV base plan, you'll be able to watch every regular season Sunday afternoon out of market game. All you need is a Google account and a current form of payment, and you can cancel at any time. Beyond this offer, obviously I'm starting to look ahead to next weekend, Carolina hosting James Madison on the Gridiron. I've been telling you this James Madison team is going to be better. Carolina only favored by 10.5 over the Dukes with an over-under set at 47.5. So if you want to get in on this NFL Sunday Ticket offer or Carolina or other odds for this weekend, man, just visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to download America's #1 sportsbook. Carolina took care of NC Central over the weekend 45-10 in a game that was closer than that score indicates until Carolina rattled off 4 touchdowns in the fourth quarter after a scoreless third quarter for both teams. Now, again, as I said at the top of the show, we talked about the football game more in depth in our live postcast. So if you want that full breakdown, make sure to go check that out. But for now, I just want to talk about one specific aspect of the Carolina program. The Tar Heels have a quarterback problem. Saturday against James Madison is your last opportunity, if you're Mac Brown and the coaching staff, to figure out things about your personnel, about your team before the ACC slate kicks off in earnest the next week. And because of these non-conference games, 4 to start the season, it's ACC the rest of the way, baby. That's it until the bowl game. Meaning, for me, it's time to start Jacolby Criswell this Saturday. Carolina has a quarterback problem, I just said? I actually don't think so. I think it's clear, and I think the Tar Heels should rock with Jacolby Criswell. Let me give you 3 reasons why. Number 1, Conner Harrell. Thankful for him, appreciate him. He seems like a great young man. But to this point, he has had his opportunities and not really settled in, nor instilled enough confidence to believe that the offense is going to operate consistently under his leadership. Now, maybe he gets there, but at this point, there have been multiple opportunities, and I just do not believe that he has shown it. While on the flip side of that, on Saturday, when Jacolby Criswell came in the third series, he immediately brought poise, brought confidence, not in like an arrogant sort of way, but just like it just felt like the offense felt better. It flowed. It worked. The first 2 series under Conner Harrell, 0 points. And then Criswell comes in, first 3 drives, touchdown, field goal. I said this in our live postcast, but just even seeing how Jacolby carried himself through that, if I was a teammate, I would have felt more confident myself because of his confidence. To that point, Omarion Hampton, for example, had a quote after the game where he said that he told Criswell, I'm sorry, I said that incorrectly. Omarion Hampton said Jacolby Criswell told the team as he came in not to worry about the plays gone wrong earlier and to worry about the next play. Those messages, according to Omarion Hampton, helped the team keep its head up. I think that Jacolby Criswell is the leader and the talent level capability that Carolina needs now to go with starting this weekend at James Madison. Number 2, I just have never believed that 2 quarterback systems work. To me, this is the decision you made, and it's clear. But it sounds like Coach Brown wants to plan to continue utilizing both guys this weekend. That may be the case, but at least my hope is that he starts Jacolby Criswell on Saturday and gives him the opportunity to guide the offense and prove that the Carolina offense under Chip Lindsey and with Jacolby Criswell running the show can be what it needs to be. And again, because it seems like through 3 games that the defense is much improved, and because you've got Omarion Hampton, you don't need the quarterback to be a world beater. You just need him to be able to continue moving the offense up and down the field, managing things well. And look, if you go with Criswell Saturday, you get through Saturday and it's still not right. He's still not really separated himself. And it's like, I don't know. Then fine. Switch back, go to a 2 quarterback system. But I believe for the opportunity to literally raise the ceiling of your season, you, if you're Mac Brown, owe it to yourself and this team to give Jacolby Criswell the chance to prove himself in a starter's role. And if you get that right, it literally could change the narrative of the season. So why not give it a shot? That's my opinion. Third, why I think this is the thing, the move to make is that Jacolby Criswell's skill set, for me, unlocks Omarion Hampton even more. Here's what I mean. Because Criswell has superior passing ability to Conner Harrell, that ultimately takes more guys out of the box. What is that going to do? It's going to give Omarion Hampton more room to run. Now, he obviously doesn't need much because he just runs into guys and then runs through them. But if you can have a legitimate, respected passing game that's going to make the secondary stay back, that's going to keep the linebackers back further, think about what that does for Omarion Hampton and the rest of the running back room. I mean, it's not just him. Davion Goss had another nice day on Saturday. Why does it matter? To create more space for Omarion Hampton. I mean, this dude just had his second career 200+ yard rushing day on Saturday. He just had his second career 3 touchdown day on Saturday. You've got to do everything you can to help him succeed at the highest level, or else it's negligent. And again, here's the thing that I've tried to remind us all summer and all the early part of this fall. The mere presence of Omarion Hampton takes the pressure off of whoever it is under center for the Tar Heels. And so hopefully that means just go out and ball. And if you're Jacolby Criswell, who on Saturday showed me that presence and poise that is needed to be a starting quarterback at the FBS level or any other high level, then do it. Just do it. Now, was Jacolby Criswell perfect? By no means. For example, we saw it a couple times on Saturday. Needs to find touch better on his deep ball. That's a thing. And other things. That's just one that sticks out in a big way. But ultimately, I believe that what he brings to the table puts Carolina in a better situation to win, both in the short and long term. And I think that because of that, you owe it to yourselves on Saturday against James Madison to give Jacolby Criswell the opportunity to start and lead this team. Carolina does not have a quarterback problem. They've got Jacolby Criswell, and it's time to rock with him. Now, as part of that, I polled folks on both Twitter and YouTube what they thought Carolina should do, if they should make the switch to Criswell or if they should stick with Conner Harrell. On Twitter, 170 votes, 84.7 of them said to make the switch to Criswell. YouTube, it was closer, 93 votes there, 76% said to go with Criswell. But either way, 3 out of every 4 votes or more were in Jacolby Criswell's favor. So that's also to say, man, that fan base is clamoring for this too, and that's not nothing. Just 2 other things about football. Rankings came out again, obviously on Sunday afternoon, as they do for football. Carolina is just not getting much love. They had gone from 4 votes to 7 votes, and then now down to 3. So fine, whatever. Got a few more votes in the coaches poll, 14 votes. And they're in others receiving votes, but not really close to top 25 territory right now. And baby, we got to get to it. The shady stat of the game. I was really delinquent last season in both football and basketball about rocking with the shades during the shady stat of the game, but that's how we identify this thing, right? So I make a solemn vow to you that I will do better with it this season. The shady stat of the game for the NC Central game. NC Central had 75 yards on the first drive of the game. And wow, impressive. Great job, Eagles. For the rest of the game after that, for the final 3.5 quarters of the game, they had 92 more yards. That's it. The entire rest of the game. In total, they had 167 yards, and that brings me to the Shady stat of the game. NC Central's 167 yards was the fewest total yards by an opponent since September 5th of 2009, when the Citadel had 153. So that's basically 15 years. That's the fewest yards allowed in the last 15 seasons. This defense keeps delivering for Carolina in multitude of different ways, and we hope to see that keep up as the competition ramps up as well. Very quickly as we get out of here, the weekend wrap up. Women's soccer played on Thursday night, and I can't remember if I mentioned it on Friday's show or not, so I'll say it now. They won 1-0 against Wake Forest. 8-1 overall, now 1-0 in ACC play. That loss at Duke was not an ACC game, so that's why Carolina's 1-0. Ladies ranked 10th, unless the new rankings have come out today, and I just haven't seen them yet. Next up, at Pitt on Thursday. Men's soccer team went to Duke. This was an ACC game on Friday evening, and they won it 2-1. So the men still undefeated, 4-0-2, and now 1-0 in ACC play. They are next up, just sticking in the Carolina area, hosting NC State on Friday. Reminder, field hockey was off this weekend. They host Syracuse on Friday. Volleyball went to Manhattan, Kansas, pretty close to me, actually, over the weekend. The Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas Classic swept Lipscomb on Saturday 3-0, and then did the K-State Wildcats dirty on their home turf on Sunday with a 3-1 victory. The ladies are now 6-1. Cross country had their second sweep of the young season, winning the Virginia Invitational on Saturday. The men actually tied with Virginia, but won based on head-to-head score of each team's top 5 runners. And by the way, they did this is a critical note, without Parker Wolf. So you're doing that, and you don't have Parker Wolf? Man, great, really impressive. The women beat Virginia just straight up. So way to go. Great weekend for Carolina athletics all around. Lots and lots of dubs, and we will take that. All right, gang, great to be back together to kick off the new week. If you haven't subscribed to the show on video and audio, make sure you do that so that you don't miss a single second of our show. If you're not part of the Locked On Tar Heels Discord, man, we'd love to have you there as well. Come for the Tar Heels, stay for the community. It's free to join. The link for that is in the show notes. Come on in. Also, if you would like to chat with me directly one-on-one through text message, I'd love to be able to do that with you as part of our new Locked On Tar Heels Insider program. It's a free trial for 2 weeks to check it out. Come on in, give it a try. The link for that's in the show notes as well. And after that, just $5 a month. You guys, it's always a great day to be a Tar Heel. We'll talk again tomorrow, but until then, peace.